I'm Jeff, 3D Puzzle Builder. In this video, we're going to be working on step 3 of the ROKR Chocolate Factory Marble Run LGA02. Now you can always go back to previous videos if you need to get caught up. Now let's get started. For step 3, we're going to need sheet C, sheet D, sheet G, sheet I, as well as parts from P1 and P7. We're going to get started with pushing out 2 C10s. If you look at your sheet, C10s, there are multiple C10s. That means we're going to be using C10s in various different parts. But for this step, we need 2 C10s. And I'm going to carefully push out 2 of these C10s. Again, just gently, with pressure, using my thumb and my finger, pushing them out. There's 1, and here's 2. All right, so now I have 2 C10s. The next part we'll need is a C20. Turn this back over here. C20 is down here on the bottom left-hand corner. Punch out C20. Always keep your hand behind it to back up the pressure. There we go. C20 pushed out. Next, we're going to be pushing out 2 D10s. So if you look at your sheet, there's 1 D10 and there are 2 D10s. So let's push those out. Again, being very careful, using backup as you push them out. There's 1 D10. And we're going to come down to the other D10 right here. As I've said in the past, patience is a virtue. You definitely need to be patient when pushing these out. If you get too wound up and things just don't seem to be going right for you, you may end up breaking parts. So be patient, take your time. Next, we're going to be pushing out G1C. So we're going to pull up our G1 sheet. And if I can get this in the camera view here, it's kind of difficult. Here's our G1s. There's G1A, G1B, G1C. And G1C, we need 2 of these. There are 4 there, so we just need 2. You can punch out all 4 of them and take 2 off of that, or very carefully with your thumbnail, punch out just what you need. So there comes 2 G1Cs. All right, so there are my 2 G1Cs. I'm going to very carefully break those apart. Now I have 2 G1Cs. The next part I'm going to need are 2 I7s. And my I7s are right here. Now again, being very careful, this is another part right here. That is I6. This sits in the middle of I6. So be very careful with I6 when you're pushing out the I7s. And again, you can push out this interior part, so that leaves all of the I7s intact, and you can push them out individually. We've already pushed out the I8s. Or you can leave it all in one piece and push them out, as I'm going to do. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to very carefully push out 2 I7s. So there's one I7, and I'm going to push out the other I7. There we go. There's our other I7. Now we also need 2 I21s. So coming back to our sheet, the I21s are located right here. So you notice we have several I21s. We need 2 of these. So I'm going to punch out 1, and 2. Now when parts have the same number like these do, and there are multiples, it doesn't make any difference which one you punch out, as long as the numbers are the same. All right, the next parts that we'll need are P1. Now, looking back on your parts list from the beginning of the book, P1 are these little plastic stops. And I'm going to just roll a couple of them out here in my hand so I can show them to you. We need 2 of these. Now, I'll guarantee if you drop these on the floor, they are hard to see. There are spares though, so don't worry too much about them. These are the P1s. Now we do need 4 of them. So let me get 2 more. There's 1, 2. So now I have a total of 4 P1s. Now I'm going to put these back in my dish here so I don't lose them. And the next and last part that we'll need for this step is a P7. Looking back at your parts list, a P7 is a shaft. Now it's going to come in a package. This package, it looks just like this. You'll notice there's several different lengths of shafts. The P7 is this one right here. Now, how do I know that's a P7? If you look on your drawing, on your instructions, it shows P7 right here. And if I take this P7 and lay it on there, it's kind of hard to do. Don't have it perfectly level. You'll notice that it lines up. Let me try that again. There we go. It lines up on both ends. So that is the one P7 that I'll need. 2 other things that we'll need for this step are, 1, I can't focus on that, our wax, as well as a tool. Okay, on our instruction drawing for step 3, we're going to be working on this part of the picture from right to left. So we're going to start with the rightmost I7. If you remember, this was I7. Oops, excuse me. Oops, I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. Here's I7 down here. I7. We're going to start with our I7 and our two G1Cs. So here's our G1Cs. Here's our I7. And that's going to go right in here. Very carefully. Oops, there we go. And I can use my tool to lay this down on it. That way I can push in, and now we're perfectly flat. And we're going to install the other G1C. So now we have both G1Cs installed, and they're bottomed out. Perfect. So that's what we should look like right now. So that is my two G1Cs and my one of my I7s. The next thing we're going to install will be the D10. We're going to take a little bit of a step here on the D10, one of the D10s. We're going to lubricate it before we get started. And lubricating the D10 is just a matter of taking your wax in between the gears and kind of rocking it back and forth a little bit. We just need to get a little bit of wax in there because these gears will mesh with other gears. So here we go, coming around, almost done with this one. There we go. And I'm just going to spread a little bit there and a little bit there. Now, we're going to use this in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and lubricate it. This is the other D10. Get it lubricated. If you don't get these lubricated, since it is a wood-to-wood contact, what will happen is your puzzle will become a little bit jerky. So we get them all lubricated well. There we go. And a little bit on that side, and a little bit on that side, and we've got it. All right. So now we're going to take our D10 and it's going to go in or attached to what we had just previously put together. And get these in there. There we go. It's going through just like that. So now we should have something that looks like this. Next, we're going to install an I-21. So if you remember, our I-21s are back over here. I-21 is going to go in the same sequence. Now there are 4 holes in the I-21. It'll only go through 2 of them. Don't try to force it through the little bitty holes. It'll only go one way. Then we're going to go to the 2 C10s. So here's one C10. It's going to go on right here. Just like that. and the other C10. Just like that. Now we're going to take our C20. Here's our C20. And as I had said before, if you lay this just like it looks on the drawing, so if you hold it over your drawing, it would sit on the drawing just like this. These parts will go through the bottom hole, just like that. You notice it stands off a little bit because of the size of the C21, or excuse me, I-21. So that goes through the bottom. Now, there's one step I missed here, and right now it's not hard to do. And take that back out, and we're going to lubricate the inside of both of these. Just like this. Doesn't take much, but it does need to be lubricated. Okay, so setting this back like it was, that goes in there. Now after that goes on, we need another I-21. Here's our I-21. We'll go on the back side and push right in. Just like that. Then after the I-21, we need the other D10. There's our other D10. D10 goes right there and pushes on. And then the last part is going to be an I-17. Now, if you notice, we don't have quite enough room there for the I-17. So as I've been pushing these have stuck through a little bit. So we're going to get those evened out again. Just like that. Make sure everything's stuck together. And now my I-17 goes right there. So now we should have something that looks just like this. And those gears will turn. Now, the next part of this, we're going to be installing the P1s on P7 and installing the P7. All right, here I have my P7, and you can barely see it in there. I've got my P1 there. So we're going to take and insert the P7 into the P1. It takes a little bit of pressure to get it to go, to move in, but it will get started. Up here, there we go. Now, we're going to use the tool that we first punched out in the very first step. In this case, we're going to utilize the very first notch in this tool. And what that notch is going to do for us is it's going to allow us to push this in and set it at exactly the right distance. So I take it and push it in. Now my P1 should lay flat on the shoulder of this measurement, and the end of the shaft should bottom out inside there. Just like that. Now we're going to take another P1 on our P7. And once we get that started in there, it should bottom out. Just a little bit more. There we go. So it has now bottomed out. So it's even with that edge, and the two P1s have come together. So that's perfectly set. Now we're going to take the P1, or the two P1s and the P7. And again, looking at your drawing, with this setting just like it looks in the drawing, we're going to take our P7 and we're going to insert it right through there, just like that. Now we're going to take the other two P1s and put those on the end. I can find them here. There we go. Got it started. Get it pushed in. Just like that. And the other one, actually went a little bit too far with that one, so I'm going to have to push it back out a little bit. Just like that. Just use the back of my tool, pushed it out. What I want to do is bring it in, just like I did the first one, just to where it seats in the bottom of the first notch. Just like that. Now the other one goes on. There we go. So now we've got those in. Perfect. All right. So now we should have something that looks just like this. And the very last step here is to take that outside end. You notice we're open just a little bit there. We're going to take that with our tool and just place it right over the hole. And we're going to push that all the way through to where it completely bottoms out over here. Now we have to go through the hole here. There we go. Just like that. You heard it pop in. So now we've got just a little bit sticking out on that end. So right now you should have a part that looks just like this, and it's made to turn. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.